So I'm here with my Uncle Therman on June, well, I don't know what today is. What's today? June 21st, 2013, after the Gray family reunion 2013. So, Therman, would you break down our lineage, our Jane, and this is the Jane and Dave family reunion.
Well, what we don't really appreciate is how close we are to slavery. What a short time frame has been since slavery. Generation-wise, I'm the fourth generation from slavery.
Wow.
So Dave and Jane, who were slaves, they had 14 children, and the first 5 or 6 of them, they were still slaves, so the first 5 or 6 of their children were born in slavery. So and then the other 8 or 9 were born after the Emancipation Proclamation in 1865. So the rest of their children were born free people. So I keep trying to imagine Dave and Jane as slaves, and they have one child, they have another child, they're slaves, they're slaves, they're slaves. Then they have this. Then they're not slaves. How does that? What is that? That has to be, something to think about. We're free. We're free.
Wow, that's the trip. So Dave and Jane. So that would have it that my grandmother's mother's siblings were slaves.
Yeah. Yes. They're
that's
older
close.
They're old. Your grandmother's elder siblings were born slaves. And in fact, the first child they had after they were free, after 1865, when Emancipation Proclamation happened, they named that child, as a boy child, they named that child General. Because imagine, there were no newspapers or internet, so when President Lincoln declared the Emancipation Proclamation, that didn't get to everybody. Especially all the farms throughout the South. The way that the slaves learned about the Emancipation Proclamation was from plantation to plantation, from state to state. And General Lee, not General Lee, but General Grant, who was the general of the Northern Army, was going through the South, and as he went from place to place, he got rid of the plantation owners. So the slaves on that plantation were free. So the word throughout the South was, the generals are coming, the general is coming, the general is coming. They didn't know what general meant.
Or why?
Or why. They knew why.
Oh.
But they didn't know what general, they just knew the phrase, the general was coming. So the first child that was born to Dave and Jane after Emancipation Proclamation was named General. That's his first name.
Wow. General Gray.
General Gray.
After General.
After General. After the General is coming.
Wow.
So, Dave and Jane had these 14 children in and out of slavery in the mid 18th century, 19th century on into 1917. To 1903 about. They had their 14 children. And then these 14 children became our forebears. One of those 14 children was Elbert Gray. And he married a lady named Annie Reed. So between Annie Reed and Elbert Gray, they had 16 children. The 16th child of Annie Reed and Elbert Gray was my mother.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And Annie Reed knew that 16th child was going to be the last one.
Oh, that's what she's
She
Omega?
named her Omega. She was probably telling her husband, I'm naming this child Omega. I want you to understand that this is it. I'm done.
Wow. So the shirt that Stanley Troy had on with the man and the woman, that's
Elbert. That was my grandfather.
That was Annie Reed and Elbert.
Yes.
Okay. Annie Reed and Elbert. And so Elbert would have been what to Uncle Walt?
A brother. No.
That was his father or grandfather?
That was his father.
Father. Okay, he looks just
Uncle
like
Walt
him.
is my mother's brother.
Okay.
So Elbert Gray was Uncle Walt's father.
Okay. Wow. Thank you. Oh my. So, go ahead.
So my mother, your grandmother, Omega, was the last of this long
Wow.
string. She didn't even relate to the older brothers and
Well,
sisters.
no.
And the one that she related, I always remember when I was little, Aunt Ruth was one of her older sisters.
I remember Aunt Ruth well.
In fact, Aunt Ruth's daughter, Unibee, was Mama's best friend.
Mm-hmm.
They were equals.
Mm-hmm.
And I always remember when we go over to Aunt Ruth's house as little kids, Mama would be there like she was at her parents' house. It would be on that kind of behavior
Mm-hmm.
and deference and respect. And,
Mm-hmm.
well,
She
then we
was.
go over to Unibee's house and she let her hair down.
Right, that's
Or go to
true.
Doreen's house and let her hair down.
Wow, that's true. Well, beautiful. Hold on.